November 9th, 2015. I actually had to stop and think for a second. It didn't sound like it was the 9th already, but it sure is. This is Radio Tokyo. I'm Jonathan, and with me is Nick, and we're going to talk about more Blizzcon stuff because there is literally too much to talk about. Every day this week, for example, which is convenient leading up to our Friday show, which is going to be entirely about World of Warcraft Legion and the Warcraft movie. Blizzard is doing different blogs about the different classes. They're going to talk about all the updates they have planned, some of which have already been kind of discussed. And what I've seen so far is astounding. Essentially, just as a slight teaser for what they're going to do, uh, every class will now be distinct. Certain names of certain classes will not exactly classes, but the specs will be going away. For example, there will no longer be combat rogue. They're now going to be called mercenary. I think I don't remember. We'll talk about it on Friday. Anyway, we're here to talk about today StarCraft and Hearthstone. So yeah, hi Nick, how are you?
I'm okay. I'm just eating this delicious Indian food my mom got for her birthday from my aunt and uncle. So, because it was her birthday yesterday. So, happy birthday, Mom. Congrats on reaching 50.
Happy birthday, Mom.
Sorry to interrupt the show for that, but had to.
It's okay, it's important.
Yeah, but clearly, definitely, obviously. No, seriously, it is. But anyways, yeah, BlizzCon. Lots and lots of exciting things. So we've got Hearthstone, we've got Overwatch, we've got StarCraft 2, we've got Heroes of the Storm, and of course we have Legion.
And for those of you who might have missed the announcement on the Friday show, this is actually a continuation of that episode. This is not going to be, the full hour long episode. We're actually going to hold that all for Friday. We're going to try and aim for half hour and try and get the StarCraft and Hearthstone coverage done today.
We'll try.
So keep an eye out for the Friday show. But like I said, this is just a continuation. I actually don't remember where we left off on Friday. I think we were talking about Varian Rien in the trailer. But we're going to hold off that for Friday because tonight, actually, I think it's tonight, isn't it? Or tonight or tomorrow. Anyway, what's going to happen is the StarCraft 2 Legacy of the Void will be released. It's been in beta, it's been highly talked about. StarCraft is, of course, as most of you know, if you keep up with BlizzCon and you know anything about esports, it's actually what started esports, and it is probably the most insanely popular game for esports ever in the history of esporting. I mean, it's really stupidly popular, and I honestly I've played it, but I haven't played a whole bunch of it, and I can't tell you much about it other than Kerrigan is one of the most badass individuals that Blizzard's ever created, and I know who the Protoss are. I know who Tassadar is. I know what Ire is. Like my life for Ire. Like I get all that stuff, and it's really interesting. And I can see how Blizzard took some of the changes from StarCraft, well the storylines from StarCraft, and merged them into Warcraft and every other game they've ever made forever and ever and ever. And it's really interesting, and I like they did that. But that's all that I know about StarCraft.
Yeah, I mean, StarCraft is to esports what baseball is to American sports. It's kind of the original big major sport. It's huge. But maybe sort of like baseball at the same time. It's not quite as popular today um outside of the competitive area as it used to be. I've I bought StarCraft 2. I've played through the first campaign. I beat the first campaign. It is a lot of fun, but maybe not my type of game exactly. I usually have a lot more fun doing the missions, where you get a set number of troops and you have set objectives and things like that, than trying to build the bases and organize the troops. I mean, it's all it's a cool game. It's definitely a cool game, and it's a little sad to see the story end because this has been one of Blizzard's flagships for a long time. StarCraft and Warcraft. It's hard to think that this storyline is ending because it is. The Legacy of the Void will close out the StarCraft 2 saga, and I don't know. Um. I'm hoping they continue the StarCraft universe in some other form, but it'll definitely be interesting, and hopefully I can get my hands on the game sometime soon. Because
Well, see,
I want to finish the story. I want to see what's happening.
well, see, all I know about it is that the Protoss are the are the first race, and I don't remember who else came after them or whatever. But it's this big giant war. It's been going on for a very long time, and yeah, okay, if you're a World of Warcraft player, you'll kind of get this comparison here. It's essentially the Burning Legion and the Draenei. The Draenei are kind of WoW's version of the Protoss. The Legion, of course, just all the hordes of evil creatures that come flying out at you. That's essentially what the Swarm is. Um,
It's actually a little bit more complicated than
It is,
that.
but I'm trying to simplify it here. That way people who may not be familiar with StarCraft lore will actually know what essentially what the basic idea is. Because and hang on
I'll,
hang on a second hang on a
wait,
second.
wait. I'll alter it just one in just one way. Where the Burning Legion were willing victims of what's his name? The old guy, or not the
Sargeras.
old guy, Sargeras. They were kind of willing servants of Sargeras. The Swarm is not a willing um servant of I can't think of what they're called, but the original old the god species
The
or the
Titans.
original species. Yeah, them. They're not actually willing, and they're actually trying to fight against them, which is how Kerrigan is made. So it's a little bit different. It's a little different, a little complex. But yeah, the Draenei are basically the Protoss, and the Swarm is basically the Burning Legion. So yeah.
Okay, yeah. I think that StarCraft does have a lot more complexity to it, like you said. But just for like just at the basis level, it's essentially Draenei and Burning Legion. Uh, in fact, if you look at the architecture of the Draenei, it looks very similar to what you see the Protoss using.
Oh
But
yeah.
but for those of you who don't have that much experience in StarCraft, knowing that essentially it's Draenei and Burning Legion might help you get into it. And Blizzard announced at BlizzCon that Legacy of the Void, this version coming out, you will not have to buy any other version of StarCraft, play it, or to get into the game, or to know what's going on. It will teach you everything, and that's something they've been doing with several other games lately. They did it for sure with I believe Cataclysm was set up that way, and Mr. Pandaria I know was, and so was Warlords of Draenor. You didn't have to have 3, 4, 5, 6 discs or whatever to install the game to get everything up to date. You could just have one copy of the game, and automatically everything's added into it. And that's essentially what they're doing with Legacy of the Void. Now, I don't know you'll be able to go back and play all of StarCraft 1 and all of StarCraft 2. I don't know because I haven't looked at it that much, and I don't know how it's set up. But you will be able to play. You'll have everything you need to play just with Legacy of the Void, which given past experience with Blizzard, I'm assuming that's what that means is that all previous versions of the game are there. So that's actually kind of awesome.
It would make some sense. It makes a lot of sense for World of Warcraft considering just how old the game is and how difficult and it would just be too hard to get into World of Warcraft if you had to go through every previous expansion and do all the previous storylines and this is actually something I like a lot that Blizzard's doing that right now their closest rival Square Enix didn't do. Um, when Square Enix released their new expansion for Final Fantasy XIV, you actually had to go through the entire original storyline, or for the first part, before you could get to the expansion. And I thought that was a really bad move. It's a really it's it could take people like 2 3 weeks just trying to get through all that, when really they're just trying to play with their friends. And that's what a lot of Blizzard games are all about. It's playing with friends and getting together,
and
going on adventures, having fun.
and that's why Blizzard's added in stuff like the veteran account and whatnot, to where you can just log in and look, there you go, you're ready to go, and if you've bought um, Warlords of Draenor or you intend to buy a Legion, that's something they're adding in. You're getting the free boost. Now, I did get a boost when I bought Warlords, as everyone did, and I used it on a hunter. Just to be perfectly clear here, um, it's probably easier as a first time player if you level all the way to maximum level rather than use the boost right away. The reason is, of course, you start out with your gear that makes you comfortable to what you should be at, but you have no abilities, and you wind up having to go through quests to learn how to play. And at the point in time where I was able to use that for the character I used with Warlords, I died about every 5 seconds because it was like being a new player. I didn't have any abilities, and I had to learn them, and it was a nightmare. But I do like that Blizzard adds in things like that, and if that's what they're going to, and if that's the idea from every game going forward, start playing and be able to go from, as soon as you, create your character or whatever. I think that's awesome, and I like that idea. It makes their games easier to play, and Blizzard has a history of being player friendly. I mean, those of us who were around in vanilla BC and Wrath when that was new content, we remember the days when it wasn't that easy to get into the game, and you had to go through all that old content. So all you new players, you're welcome because we bitched and bitched and bitched, and now they finally did it.
And it's an interesting dynamic because I think part of the reason is Blizzard isn't just World of Warcraft anymore. Ooh, echo, 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 echo. Okay, there we go. Nope, nope. Still. Mute your mic. Can you still hear me? John,
Yeah.
mute your mic. No, it's not. All right. Anyways, um, like I was saying, Blizzard isn't just World of Warcraft anymore. Um, part of the reason that World of Warcraft felt so grindy, to me at least, from a business and design perspective, is that, well, that's the only thing they really had for you to play for a long time. If we think about from Blizzard or World of Warcraft Classic to the release of StarCraft 2 and then Diablo 3, that was what, 5, 6, 7 years worth of time?
It was almost a decade. It really was, which is astounding to
Yeah.
think about. Like of course, WoW turned 10 years old this year, and that's strange to think about that the game is that old. I mean, we're
Yeah.
looking at nearly 25 years of just Warcraft by itself. And I'm talking, the original RTS games. So like all these cool things have come out, you know, in the past 20 to 25 years, and it's amazing to see how popular they still are. But actually, that's a good point to start off on our other game. Because StarCraft, like we said, is one of those older type games. It's built on a history, and they also discussed at BlizzCon Hearthstone, which is probably the most popular game Blizzard has. I'm still
It
tempted to say
it
that
is.
I'm
It's
still
unquestionably it is the new flag. in my opinion, it is even though World of Warcraft will always be iconic and always be seen as the flagship of Blizzard. Honestly, Hearthstone is now its best, most popular game right now, and the one that makes the most money. Hearthstone has um essentially unseated World of Warcraft, even though it's built off of World of Warcraft. It's a really interesting dynamic and shows the changing nature of Blizzard as it goes forward.
And see, okay, here's the thing that I like about Hearthstone. Uh, for years and years and years, and Nick and I have discussed this on past episodes, where we said that World of Warcraft is not going to be killed by anything but World of Warcraft. Blizzard with Hearthstone has sort of introduced the WoW killer, sort of. Uh, because it's called Hearthstone Heroes of Warcraft. We all know that. But it is very 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 popular. I think there's something like 20 million people I think play it. I don't know. But right now, of course, WoW is at 5.5 million, and of course, WoW is still subscription based, and subscription based games, are becoming increasingly. They're not really unpopular; they're just not as played as often. Um,
They're outdated now.
they are. But Hearthstone is really popular. I play Hearthstone a lot. I know Nick does. I have it on my phone. I've actually tried to get both of my parents to start playing because they're both computer literate and they like to do things like that, and I think it'll be fun. It's a very family friendly game. It's a very competitive game, and if you watch anything from the esport events at BlizzCon this year, you're aware of how tough this game is. And Hearthstone, you have to keep in mind Hearthstone is only about a year old. It's only been about a year now, and
And uh,
you're
actually, going back to what we were saying earlier about getting into the games, actually, I think Hearthstone's actually becoming difficult to get into for new players. I just recently introduced it to my good friend, and he's having fun with it. He's definitely into it, but it seems like because I've never bought anything off of Hearthstone except one thing in the beta to get the golden what was it, Mechatork or something. Um I've never bought anything. I've always done free to play on Hearthstone. But it seems like for anyone new to get into Hearthstone, you actually do have to pay. Um, he's just so behind on cards and things, and I'm wondering and kind of hoping if for new players they're going to introduce, I don't know, giving them a couple of the classic packs or something at the very least. It I heard they were talking about doing something to help the newer players. But if you think about it, there's Blackrock Mountain, there's Naxxramas, there's three different sets of cards to buy now. It's really they've done so much with it over the past year. It's kind of hard to just believe, really.
it is. It seems like it's an older game. Yeah, okay, but just to clarify here, and this is off the top of my head, for card decks you have basic, classic. There were promotional cards. There are Naxxramas,
Goblin,
Blackrock
yeah,
Mountain, the tournament. Uh,
and Goblins and Gnomes.
yeah, goblins versus gnomes, and then now in what I think
The
3 days
Explorers
now,
League.
on
Yeah,
the
the Explorers League is coming up.
on the 12th, there's going to be League of Explorers, which is the big thing that's coming up. League of Explorers seems really exciting. I do not have enough gold in Hearthstone to be buying it right now. But
Yeah, as soon as I heard them say that, I immediately stopped spending my gold and I started saving my gold. And one of the things I thought about was like, okay, if you're trying to be free to play with the game, it might take you a week and a half to unlock a wing for the new wings. But if you're a new player and you have all these old wings like Naxxramas and Blackrock, and then now you have the League of Explorers, that's gonna take you months to just try to unlock everything without trying to pay anything.
But see, the beautiful thing about actually two beautiful things. One, Blizzard has dropped their price on it. I think to open all of Naxxramas and Blackrock Mountain, it was about $60. I think it was stupidly expensive. I don't remember off the
I
top of my
think it
head.
was no, it was $25. The $60 was if you bought the big pack of cards for the new expansions.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Never mind, ignore me. But yeah, it's you're looking at nearly $100 here to open up all the adventures and everything that have wings. But they've actually dropped the price a little bit for League of Explorers. It's now an even $20. Well, 19.99, but it's $20 here. And if you have uh the first wing owned, it's 15, and if you have the first two wings, it's 10. And then of course it goes down. Individual wings are like
Basically
$7 each,
$5.
and or 700 gold.
Mm.
Which for people who've been playing a while, like Nick and I, it's not that hard to get the gold to open it. But where I'm at right now, I think I have like 150 gold. It's going to take me a little while before I can actually open the wings, but I'm fine with that because I never went and finished Next Ramus or Blackrock Mountain yet. I'm quite behind. But I've
It's
gotten
part of
to,
the reason. It's part of the reason I kick your ass every time.
well, that because I'm not a Hearthstone robot. You are a Hearthstone robot. I don't know how, but anyway, it's not like it's hard. It's not hard to get into Hearthstone. It's really easy to get into it. But like we said, in order to catch up, you are going to have to spend a little money if you want to get all the cool cards. Uh, but there's going to be some cool cards coming out with Hearthstone, with League of Explorers. But anyway, there's actually a storyline for this one, just like there is for Nax Ramus and everything else. Brand Bronzebeard has started a group called the League of Explorers, and the League of Explorers is made up of him, and it's made up of Reno Jackson, Elise Starseeker, and then there is another one. I can't think of his name. What was his name? Oh yeah, Sir Finley
Sir.
Murgleton. He's a Murloc. There is a
Yeah.
Murloc that runs around with a night elf, a human, and a dwarf, and they go and find treasures and all this cool shit that's out there. And of course,
It,
there's
just to let anyone know, my ideal career growing up was to be like Indiana Jones and be an archaeologist. So this is by far one of the most exciting things they could possibly make.
yeah. So essentially, Nick would be Sir Finley Murgle. But I love that name. I love that has got to be one of the best names Blizzard has come up with for anything. Is Sir Finley Murgleton. I don't know why. And Nick and I were joking around earlier today about this. Um, But how do you think he talks? Like does Brand walk up to him and say, "Hey, buddy, we're gonna go dig over here," and Finley's like, it makes a little Murloc noise, and it's interesting to think about what he's going to, like whether he speaks to them in common or he just makes the the Murloc noise.
I want quests in World of Warcraft that revolve around this storyline. I honestly do. Or I want video. I want storylines. I want something to expand upon this little adventuring group because this is just. Oh, did you notice in the little preview they had where they had Leroy Jenkins watching the movie,
Yes,
and it was just they took it right out of Up. I'm not sure if you noticed that.
I've actually never seen Up, so
Oh, you. Oh no. Oh no. Okay, you have
I'm
to
I,
see
I
Up.
am behind the times on all the cool
You,
things apparently.
I'm just gonna say you have to see Up. It is by far my favorite Pixar movie ever. And when you watch it, you'll just immediately think of this because that scene in the movie theater was just it made me smile a lot. Is it just me, or is Blizzard doing a lot of Pixar-ish things? Are they in partnership? Is something coming? I'm wondering.
They might be. I really don't know, but they do. Oh, okay. Starting with uh, Mr. Pandaria, they have been adding in, at least with WoW, a lot more kid-friendly stuff. If you notice that, um,
It just feels like they're going to make a game with Pixar or something. If you look at Overwatch, the first clip they showed of it, it seemed like a Pixar movie when I was watching it, and
it
I
did
was
actually. It
amazed.
really did. It really did. Now, of course, it's not that that's a bad idea. I just don't
Oh
know if
no,
Blizzard's ever going to do that.
I think that
But
would be amazing.
it would
I
be.
think
It would. It really
uh,
would be to see some Pixar stuff come in to World of Warcraft. But
or if
um,
they make a Warcraft or some kind of movie or game together, I would be incredibly excited for that. Oh, we didn't even talk about the card feature.
I mean Discovery.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Uh,
that's the new mechanic. Okay, and of course, and the write up says, while discovering forgotten artifacts is all well and good, we all know the best part of archaeology is collecting them. Do your part as an official member of the League of Explorers to discover ancient treasures. Each time you play a card with the new Discover keyword, excuse me, you'll get to choose between three random cards that can be used by your class. Dig up just what you need to get out of that tight spot. Now, what this is describing, this is amazing. This is a really neat idea. Whenever you get a card that has Discover on it, which by the way, Finley Mergleton has Discover on him. What happens whenever you do that is sort of like how in the Grand Tournament, whenever you use Inspire, you get the special ability for the card. It's essentially that, except what happens is it's okay. It's that basic idea, but it functions more like the tracking card in a hunter deck, where you get to draw three cards from your deck and then you can pick one. Except this, when discovery happens, it has that same tracking mechanic, where it pulls up three cards. Uh, but what you do is you get three cards usable by your class, and you have to pick between each of the cards for whichever one you want to use. And it's always going to be class specific. So hunter, warlock, paladin, whatever we'll get, hunter, warlock, paladin, whatever, uh, inspire, discovered cards for that deck, and it's something that you can use as an extra bonus. And they added in several things. Nick's favorite thing thus far is the Elite Star. Is it Star Seeker or Star Hunter? I don't remember. Anyway, her thing is uh,
she gives you a
oh,
map.
that's the wrong thing. Her thing is, hang on one second, I've got it right here.
Uh,
No,
uh,
that's Bran. Those of you who are actually watching this, I'm sorry. Starseeker, at least Starseeker. But yeah, but I'm sorry for that random image popping up there. Um, at least Starseeker. I do not remember what Reno Jackson does. No, no, wait,
She,
no, wait, no, wait, no, wait. Reno has the most powerful wheel in the game, but Elise, what she does when you get her is she shuffles in a map into your deck. Whenever you draw the map, that lets you get the golden monkey. The golden monkey turns every card you have into a legendary. Every card. That's the ones in your hand. That's the ones already on the playboard, and that's the ones that's in your deck. They all become legendaries.
which is by far one of the coolest things ever. I'm not sure how effective it will actually be in constructed play, but it has to be one of the most fun things that you could ever do.
Does it actually have
Also,
to be constructive?
um, eh, I'm guessing if you are
No.
going to
No, Nick,
make
Nick, Nick,
if
Nick,
you're
Nick,
going,
Nick. The answer is
let
no.
me
The
be a nerd.
answer.
Let me be a nerd. Let me be a nerd. If you're going to make a constructed deck around that, I'm guessing you would include a lot of things with card draw because basically you're just trying to get at least as fast as possible, and then get the map as fast as possible, and then get the golden monkey as fast as possible. So maybe something like mage would be really good with that, or warrior with its things.
All I hear is
It's
blah
interesting.
blah 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 blah. It turns every card you have into a legendary. It what other construction do you need? It's like, oh my god,
Also,
all theory crafting goes out the window when you have
I think one of the really interesting things is, remember, not all the legendaries are 8 or 9 mana, or really expensive cards to play. Some of them are really cheap, and they're small little legendaries.
like Finley
So
is one cost, I think, isn't he?
yeah, and the blood sorcerer card is like 1 cost, or 2 or something. So it's really it's a really interesting part of Hearthstone that they've been doing. Ever since Goblins versus Gnomes, they've really been trying to add a lot of RNG, and I think part of that is to break up constructed play, or make people, not just do the same thing over and over again. They're really trying to add a lot of randomness to make you adjust, to make you think, and it's a really cool feature. Um,
It actually is. I mean, uh, when we said that Hearthstone is easy to play, yes, it's easy. It's very easy to get into. But uh, one one of my favorite things that I've ever done in Hearthstone is to use the deck randomizer. Like you go and make a deck, and you don't pick cards. You just hit done, and then it says, "Do you want to use the deck randomizer to make a deck?" Yes, hit yes on that bitch and see what you get. But but here's the thing: I don't look at the cards. I don't look at them to see what it gave me. I just hit done. It makes the deck, and I go play. And I've actually won a lot of games just doing that one thing. It's really impressive. Blizzard has
well,
got their shit down with Hearthstone with this, and adding in
well,
a deck full legendaries like for example Reno Jackson's. Uh, I don't remember if it's a Discovery or Battlecry, whatever it is. But
it's
if
a
you
battle cry,
have,
I believe. Yeah,
but
it's if every card in your deck is unique, in your hand and deck is unique, he will heal you the full, which is by far the most powerful heal in the game. It's completely a game changer for a lot of things. If you can make a constructed deck with him, like a freeze mage or something, with that power, it'd be amazing, or an amazing counter against freeze mage. It's really fun. It's really cool to think of, because the more cards they add in, the more you can vary your cards. Like, for instance, priest, right?
yeah,
Before your only AOE was Holy Nova, but now you have Light Bomb too. Well, now if you want to put Reno Jackson in, you don't. You can put a Holy Nova and a Light Bomb in your deck, and there you have 2 AOE still. It's really cool.
and see, while we're describing these individual characters and their things, Finley's I don't remember off the top of my head. Maybe you remember Nick.
It's
But Bran, uh,
wait. You discover a basic hero power. I'm still a little confused about how that works. If it's like one of the better hero powers, or just another class's hero power.
well,
It'd be really interesting. Like, maybe if you're a shaman, you could suddenly get the mage hero power, the hunter hero power, and I'm really confused about how that works. Or maybe it's going to be different hero powers for each class,
I will see.
which would be really cool.
Reading it, my initial thought was that it was going to be like I cannot
True,
remember the card name from the
just a
tournament.
card, just a card,
Uh,
true heart or silver
yeah,
heart.
yeah, yeah. True Art, I think. But
Yeah.
it increases your. I don't know. But Bran's I want to talk about for a second because Bran has a battle cry, and he triggers Discover twice, doesn't he?
Yes. No. He triggers battle cries twice, and most of the discover features are battle cries. So basically, if you play Bran and he's still alive on the field, you can do some amazing things. For instance, if you play a Defender of Argus, he's not gonna buff those minions just +1/+1. He's gonna buff them to +2/+2. If you use your Fire Elemental, the Shaman, it's gonna do 6 damage instead of 3 damage. It's a really amazing, powerful card, especially if you make a deck with a lot of battle cries. And I'm guessing with the discovery, you're gonna discover 2 things, not just one.
See, I'm thinking out of all these cards, I'm thinking Bran might actually be the most powerful. Might just
I
just
think
just
for
just for that one little playability thing alone, right there. I mean,
I
it's not.
think for constructed play, you're right. I think in constructed play, he is definitely the most powerful card. I think Elisa is going to be really hard to play, honestly, because um you seem like the rogue thing, the where it puts free bombs in your or minions in your
Yeah,
deck that pop up
yeah.
under when I play against that, even though the rogue plays that, I very rarely see them actually pop up when I'm playing the game. Because usually the game is just over too fast.
It
So I
it
think she's
see
gonna be. Mhm.
my worry is, no, all levity aside here, what I'm thinking you're going to see when it happens is players are going to have a no shit moment. They're going to say, "Oh shit, what do I do?" Because you only have so much time to figure things out, and with every card becoming legendary for her, what you're going to see is uh ones,
Well, I
that
mean,
cost, like 1 to 4, and then you're gonna have, like the 8s and 9s. You're gonna have them range everywhere. So it's like
it,
how so
it,
it's so it's
well,
so it's, so it's gonna so it actually will force you into making very constructive. You're gonna have to make very constructive plays with Elise,
well,
and it's kind of
it's
scary.
really yeah. Well, no, Elise presents a lot of problems for just playing her. Number one, because of the randomness of the map, and well, number one, you have to get her. You hopefully get her early on, and then you have to draw the map, and then you have to draw the monkey. That's 3 card draws that you need in order to complete the legendary part. The other problem is a lot of legendaries you can only play one at a time. Um, they're all really, really powerful cards, but if we're talking about facing like a hunter deck, just a simple hunter deck, right? The game's usually over in 10 turns, 8, 10 turns. You don't really have time to do the golden monkey, which really makes me kind of sad. So that's why I'm thinking she'd actually be really good in a defensive kind of play style. Um, you where you're trying to hold out and survive and get to her and then play the golden monkey and then all of a sudden boom you can turn the game right around. It's gonna be really interesting to see how it works out.
I think it will be, but we're actually pretty close to an hour here, and I know we were not intending to go an hour, but we're what 40 minutes now. That's fine. So I think we're gonna have to pause for right now, and we'll come back on Wednesday, which will be the 11th, Veterans Day, yay, or Remembrance Day everywhere else in the world. But we're gonna pause right here with this, and we're gonna come back Wednesday with Overwatch and some other game that I can't think of the name of. Heroes of the Storm. We're gonna come back with that on Wednesday. And Friday, of course, we're going to have the Warcraft episode. We'll talk about Legion. We will probably do a lot of theory crafting. We'll talk about some of the class changes, probably not all of them, because there's going to be a lot of class changes coming out. So sorry about that ahead of time. And of course, we're going to talk about the movie. So thank you for listening. Thank you for liking this video, commenting on it, sharing it, subscribe it. Please remember to do that. If you haven't, like us on Facebook. And we will talk to all of you Wednesday. And by the way, those of you who are StarCraft players, It launches here in a few hours. It will be 9:01 p.m. Central and Eastern time, I believe. Actually, everywhere in the Americas, 9:01 p.m. So like an hour, starting with Eastern time, then Central, then Mountain, whatever. It'll be 9:01 p.m. hour apart. So everywhere else, you have to wait officially to tomorrow. Enjoy your StarCraft and uh, enjoy Hearthstone when it comes out. Get busy getting your card decks because it's time to game. It's time. It's time. It's past time to start gaming.
Thank you to all our veterans, of course. I salute you this day and every day. And yeah, go have fun, enjoy, play, have fun with your friends. Show your friends, show them the show. Talk about us, talk about the games. Goodbye, everyone.
It's all about the games, as the theme says. The games. You gotta have the games. But yeah,
Alright,
we will
everyone.
talk to all of you
Take care.
Wednesday. Have a good night, everybody. Oh, and tomorrow, those of you who are interested, of course, the new Republican debate is this week. Who gives a shit? We're tired of that. Um, and yeah, we'll so maybe discuss that a little bit. I don't know. We might possibly get into the Starbucks controversy. I don't know. It's crazy. There's a lot going on this week, but we're going to stay focused on BlizzCon. So we will see you all on Wednesday with what is this going to be part 3 of our BlizzCon especial.
Yes. Goodbye, everyone.
Bye, everybody.